Okay, so now for this afternoon, here we have Nikolaus Weingartmair, who is an Odoo developer and ERP enthusiast with many years of hands-on experience on the Odoo ecosystem. He's passionate about open source clean code and creating ERP solutions to make business workflows smarter and more sustainable. Alongside with his freelance work, his current mission is building a Bulletin Board, a map-based AI-supported event platform, and he's going to talk all about it. Thank you.
Thank you.
Oh, disconnected.
Okay. Just a short overview about the talk. I will talk shortly about the project, and then I will talk about the OCA project Geospatial and which parts I used for my project. And the main part is how I integrated it with OpenStreetMaps to get data. So about me, I think everything important was said. I'm from Austria based, and we do some localization stuff, mostly in accounting and logistics. And I will give you just a short, my GitHub handle is over there, if you have afterwards some personal notes. My talk was introduced also with OWL in mind, but I now just focus on the geospatial part because this already was way bigger than I thought. So if you are here for the OWL part, come to me later, and I'm happy to talk about how to use OWL in the website. So just quick overview. The project Schwarzes Brett, or Bulletin Board, roughly translated, it's about events but not in big cities, but for rural areas. So basically, it's putting flyers on certain EU coordinates, and I will show you how we implemented this. Just a short overview about the event industry and the big problem there. It's like with real estate, where it's location. In this area, it's search. So first, how the people find your own site, how the search on your site works, and it seems trivial at the beginning, but it gets quite complicated to get a good user experience, that people find what's really in their surrounding and in their reach and for their use case. And the second part is we connect with a lot of different data sources. We work with ticket vendors who have very different data structures. Then also a lot of tourism agencies have public or semi-public data sources, and also there are many other sources you can use for end users. That's a marketing term I came up with so the next step after software as a service is regionality as a service, which is very funny if you ask ChatGPT this. He will come up with quite a good solution, although I want to make it now public that I founded this term. So so the idea is to make it easy for end customers, and so that was the part about the product. And now let's dive in how to do this. So first, how not to do it. So there are a lot of sites trying to cater to regional users, and it's becoming even more important. Like big cities, they usually have very good sites which only deal with a certain region. But as soon as you want to get a scaling environment or want to cater rural areas, it becomes more complicated as distances for certain things get bigger, and then this becomes more complex. So how the big guys are doing it. So there are a lot of real estate companies who really have good good software to help people to find what's really in there relevant for their circumstances. For example, Zillow, it allows you to see a map and to paint on the map which area you are interested in, and then they just return you the results of the area you selected. So that's more or less the gold standard. And you definitely, if you want to do a good UI, you definitely have to have all the regions, all the cities, all the communities in your system, that the users are able to find what they are looking for. And so that was the design goal, to achieve those two features. Now I want to talk a little bit about Geospatial. Just out of curiosity, who has ever used Geospatial, the OCA plugin? Okay, one. It's a really cool app. Are you a maintainer or just user? So I want to give you a short live demo, so to get a better impression if you've never used it. So this is with the demo data they supplied, and it's really well done. So basically you have a model, and you can store points and polygons, so areas on the map. And so you can show the polygons on the map, but it's way more advanced. So you can, for example, if you have some numerical data in the same model, you can, for example, color the areas depending on it. So it's very good for business intelligence, and it's really very handy. But it also supplies other more complex operations. For example, you can say, show me all points which are in certain areas. So that's exactly what we want. We want to give the user the possibility to enter a certain region and get all the points within this area. So how does this work, or how is this done?
Is this connected?
Yeah, try to. Okay. So basically, it's implemented as a new view type, and you can configure it as Kanban views in Odoo. So if you click on an area, you can see the fields you defined in the template, just as a normal Kanban view. And under the hood, where it gets interesting, the data is stored in Postgres, and there is a very heavy used add-on. It's called PostGIS, which has all these operations where, for example, you can say, is this point in this area? Do these areas connect? So Geospatial is just a wrapper around these Postgres functionalities. So they are very well integrated, super fast, and the model is really just a wrapper around that, which makes it really useful in an Odoo context, because you can use it in a domain filter. So you can do all the operations the database can do, but in our usual domain filter, mix it with other filters, and that's it. So now we have the infrastructure in Odoo, and we just need to get the data. So to get geodata, there are many different providers, and usually you have to decide very early on what to use. And the biggest players are, of course, Google Maps. There is also Mapbox, which I shortly tried. It's also proprietary data, but one of the still biggest players is OpenStreetMaps or Nominatim, and I implemented it with OpenStreetMaps because of some reasons I will elaborate during the next slides. So who has ever used OpenStreetMaps, or who has never used OpenStreetMaps? Let's put it that way. Okay, it's very similar to Google Maps, but the search is not as perfect as I personally would not use OpenStreetMaps. But on the other side, it's really cool that you can put your data into OpenStreetMaps, and of course you can use the data from OpenStreetMaps way more freely than you could use the data of Google Maps. Anybody ever used it for personal project or programming projects? Okay, cool. So maybe the rest of the talk will be a little bit boring for you, but I try to give a short introduction to it. Another question, how many have actively contributed to OpenStreetMaps, like putting in some data? Okay, a few hands. Okay, just for the rest of you, OpenStreetMaps has three data types. One is a node way, which is basically multiple points, and then the relationships where you can combine different nodes and ways. I try to show you some examples and to give you a better idea of these points. So we start, as an Austrian, I think I have a little bit responsibility to show off with Austria. So we will have a look at Salzkammergut, which is a region close to where I live. It has beautiful lakes and small villages. There is even Hallstatt. Anybody knows this? Okay, and it's a very small town and one of the oldest, and the Chinese completely rebuilt this city in China, and it's before Corona it was always filled with Chinese. It's very surreal image to have this Austrian mountain village with a lot of Chinese people with little sun umbrellas, but it's definitely worth a visit. So we will look for this region on OpenStreetMaps. So we can see this is most of the polygons are already relationships. You can see it in the URL header. We are now seeing relationships with an ID, and all the entities, they have tags. So some of them are very restrictive. Some of them are nobody cares. This is of type natural area, which is, and there is also statistical and another one. But that's and what I wanted to show you. Relationships always have members, and now we can see the other data type like way, and a relationship consists of a lot of lines, because in OpenStreetMaps all the barriers, they are mostly just very small ways which are connected to big polygons. So my next example would be how to make an entry, just to show you how easy it is for those who never contributed. And I saw at when I entered this building, there was a trash bin, and I think this trash bin really needs an entry on Google Maps. So I say Liège Conference Center. Sorry for my bad French. So maybe that's why we didn't find it.
It's better than the
Thank you. Around here? Okay, and on the left of the entry, I saw a trash bin. So we are here on OpenStreetMaps. There's an edit button, and the bin is over here. So we have here our three types, and for a trash bin we can use a point. And I was trying out something with the languages. So now we have it in Russian. But we can fix this. So now it's better. There are a lot of data types which are triggering different tags, and if you're not sure what to do, there is a lot of help forums where you can discuss for days which tag to use and which you shouldn't. For trash cans, for example, there's an operator we don't know, and I think there's also collection times. I think for now this should be enough. And then we click save, and we say manual observation. And I think for this we don't need a manual review, and we made the world a better place and contributed to OpenStreetMaps. Just to show you how easy it is. So now you say to me, oh, that's so easy, and I don't like to work with such simple things. I can rest you assured, as soon as you try relationships or do more meaningful stuff, you will not be happy with the online editor, and you can use some very nice Java applications to do more complex things. And as soon as you put in something more meaningful than a trash bin, you will be invited to very funny online forums to discuss these changes. So then there's other very important infrastructure for OpenStreetMaps. It's called Overpass. So if you really need some data from OpenStreetMaps, you can use a normal API, but usually you need more advanced queries. And they created, of course, their own query language. Anybody has experience with Overpass? Just to give you a short introduction, they also really have a cool online editor for the queries. I started with this before ChatGPT was very common. Now it's super easy because ChatGPT really knows how to write these queries, or the easy ones. It needs a little bit time, and you need to understand the concepts of ways, areas, and nodes. But then here I have a simple query where I say, in the state of Upper Austria, where I'm coming from, I want to see all the communities in there. And you can even see it graphically, but you get a nice JSON output for that. But for querying, you can really use the graphical interfaces. And this is also very necessary if you work with editors, because if you want to modify a certain area, which is bigger, the editor loads everything, and you need to first select which things you want to modify. And for that, you need to query just the relevant parts, because there are a fucking lot of objects on a map. And you can like do queries like find all the supermarkets in Austria. You can find all trash cans, and there's really no limit to what you can find out. But data quality varies a lot. So now we are in how to get the data to our Odoo systems. I can tell you a lot of ways how not to do it. For example, using the normal API I was telling you before, you are limited to have about 3 requests per second. So if you use it in real-world examples, for example, with our event data where you have like 40,000 events which you want to translate or something, that gets a bit boring. But as it's an open source project, you can more or less create your own OpenStreetMap instance, which looks basically completely identical to the pages I showed you before. And there are some people who are way smarter than me who put that in a Docker Compose file. And then you can do the same requests. There's only a very small difference in the URL, and do the same request against your own OpenStreetMaps. Have no network latency, and it works like a charm. So the project is called N7M, and you save yourself a lot of headache if you host your own. The thing is just you need the data for example, your country, and these are big files, and you need a little bit to get used to it to get the data into your own system. So that's it. And that was the first time for me async really made sense. Out of curiosity, how many people are using async in Odoo projects, or who has ever used it? Okay. So here, if the limit of 3 requests per second is reduced, it really makes sense and fun. But the interesting part for this project was way too late. I discovered the OpenStreetMaps project is all done in Postgres. So you basically can get a dump of your country, can import it, and then getting the data is just an SQL statement, more or less, and you can get rid of all the API requests, just to let you know. So that was basically the whole process, how to store geodata efficiently in Odoo, and how to get it from OpenStreetMaps. I want to share some gotchas with you. So for example, in our case, we get the data, which is quite heavy, and for example, the borders for the state, it's a few megabytes. But for our use case on the front end, we just need a very, very tiny or very simple representation of the state, and we just reduce the size of the polygons, and then just afterwards realized that the borders didn't fit together because they were optimized individually, but they didn't fit together at all. But there are some very smart heuristics where you can put all the shapes in there, and it then optimizes it, and you can have the size you really need, which is all working in Postgres and is very, very fast. Then also want to share a little story. You can use polygons and multi-polygons in Geospatial, and I thought, oh, I don't want an extra loop. I'm happy with polygons. Then I realized even the region where I'm from, it's a multi-polygon because there's a big city in the middle of the region, and you always need multi-polygons. So the outlook. So we are very happy now with the with the querying, because everything is one Odoo domain filter, and everything works like a charm. And now the interesting part is to use AI to create the domain filters. So if anybody has ever tried that before, would be really nice to talk to you. And that was more or less my talk. Let's see how I was with the time. So I'm happy to answer any questions, or if you had similar projects or something you want to share, I'm happy to discuss.
Thank you very much. Any questions? None? Okay. Well, thank you.
So it's always said, if there are no questions, it's either a good sign or a very bad sign.
No idea.
May I have a copy of the presentation?
Sure, if you just send, or if you send me something, or you can give you my email address afterwards, or I can show it to you now. So it's basically winey2000@gmail.com. So, and if somebody has a different question, just come to me now.
Oh, okay.
I'm just starting. Does it work? Yeah. No.
I hear you
Yeah.
good, but I'm not sure.
Not
if
sure
it's
it work over there. Yes. I'm just starting to study a free project for people in France who want to save forests, and there are quite plenty of small organizations that buy some parts of forests and make it available in the long term against big company who kill all again capitalism. Okay. And
But I didn't catch the product, or what product.
the product way they use QGIS and that's all. But they need some better tool to organize themselves, and this could be. I did not know the extension on Odoo, but did you try to add some data which name is LIDAR? It's big data, and did you try to import some LIDAR data and make some automatic recognition of canopy on or ground, for example, things like that?
Okay, I try to repeat your question. I think LIDAR is like surface data. Okay. To my understanding, the geodata, it's two different worlds. The world of Google Maps and Nominatim, which is very simplistic. And to my knowledge, like all the communities for building projects, they use a completely different system, which is, I mean, here it's just to put a point on coordinates. And I think LIDAR will be compatible with the different. I just remember the name, but all the where it's more like in construction or more into, they use the completely different system. But it would be interesting. I didn't mention it, but usually mapping, it's two different. It's one, the layer part, where you can say I want a nice geodata or satellite picture, and you can in Geospatial you can use a lot of different free raster images, but my part was more on this simplistic show the data and get the right data and this part.
Anyone else?
How do you compare hosting your own Nominatim instance to dumping the SQL database? because you presented the query language, it is available only if you host the nominative instance.
Can you repeat the question part?
You have two options when you want to interact with the data. You can host your own nominative instance, and so you get the query language you talked about inside.
If you so the thing is, if you use the Docker container, it builds up and there is no data in it, and you need to get data. I think if you want to have everything from, it's like huge, it's like 180 gigabytes. Don't kill me if it's factor 10 wrong, but for example, Austria is about 2 gigabytes, and I've never seen a process taking so long to import it to this. It's like it was for me, for Austria, which is a tiny country, it was like 7 hours, or maybe I did something wrong. But the other thing I was mentioning is you also get SQL dumps for these regions, or I'm not sure if you can. There are many standards for storing the data, and you can even raise an own database with the data, and it has all the same data, and it's a normal Postgres database with these add-ons. And from there you can, I think in my process, I got up a Postgres, put the data in there, and then I installed on the same database, I installed Odoo, and then they're on the same database, you put it wherever you want.
Okay, but using Postgres, you do SQL request and not I don't remember the name of the query language you described. Overpass, yes. So how so you cannot get the overpass query language when you use Postgres, for example?
No, overpass, it's just an API.
Yes.
And actually, I didn't get it to work. The Docker container, I'm not sure if it supports overpass. I'm not sure if I got it working, but for overpass it's not so much a problem because you can query everything at once. The problem is if you want to reverse query. For example, you have an address and you want a geocoordinate. You can't do that in patch. You need to do this every time. And then, as I told you, the restrictions of the official servers, it's getting boring. And if you have your own, you can get really fast.
Anyone else? No? Thank you very much. Thank you.